What's up, guys? Welcome back. If you can hear the ambience a little bit louder today, it's because I literally have both windows open behind you. It's just so nice outside. I'm just appreciating the fact that I don't need to have an air conditioner on or anything. It's lovely, and I just get to look at the trees and listen to the birds. And I hope that I'm bringing that to you right now. So today we're going to be doing a full face of DANESSA MYRICKS, like updated for the fact that she just put out this blurring balm powder. Yeah, I was confused too. I will tell you guys, I've used this 5 or 6 times in 3 or 4 different ways, and I remain confused. I actually made an Instagram story about it. I was like, guys, what the devil is this? Like, I put it on my skin and I was like, it's better, but I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't understand what it did. And so DANESSA actually messaged me back and was like, this fully made my day. I love her. I think that she is absolutely darling, and I think she's also really, really brilliant, an amazing makeup artist. I look up to her so much, and so I'm always eager to try her formulas. Even if one of them is a total knockout and some of them just don't impress me as much, I still always like really pay attention to the brand. So this is going to be a full face of the things that I have, filled in the blanks with other things, and you know, we're just gonna lean into this like friendly neighborhood art mom vibe that I've got going on today. And let's go ahead and jump in. So yeah, in case I wasn't clear, this will be the one thing we're like deep diving on today. I'm gonna, you know, look at the ingredients and talk about the price and the claims and everything like that a little later on in the video. I'm gonna start with the Phytosurgeon's Verdant Force Field. This is just a restorative moisturizer. Give me some nice, happy dew on my skin here. I haven't done my skincare in a few minutes. I'm actually kind of splitting my time right now. I took a class, like I told you guys, on what? Abstract art. It's like, what am I trying to say? Abstract painting. And it kind of all came together for me. I've been trying to do this for such a long time. And I'm not gonna say that the class was like the world's greatest class. It was just really helpful since I went through art school, watching people do all kinds of different painting and like really focusing on like classical techniques, to watch somebody explain their process. And I was like, oh, okay. So my process can be different, but it can be X, Y, and Z, and like these things are enough. And like, you know what I mean? I think it's about feeling like you're enough in a lot of ways. So that was really educational for me. So I am going to kind of start splitting my time between this and painting. And you guys can follow my painting account. I just posted my first painting, so. Anyhoodles, let's start with my one kind of product that I have mixed feelings about, and that's this Yummy Skin. Oh, by the way, like, if you see this in my nails, if I get one comment, people being like, you're disgusting, you banned, okay? Art mom is an aesthetic. Anyway, this is the Yummy Skin Glow Serum. I'm not gonna use the Yummy Skin foundation today. Instead, I pulled this, which is the Vision Cream Cover, which is, I'm here to tell you guys, the same thing. It's just more concentrated. It's very much like, I feel like DANESSA, she's been packaging her previous formulas that were very makeup artist oriented into formats that are more recognizable as what they are from the standpoint of selling at Sephora, which is smart. I'm not saying she's like hoodwinking us. I'm saying people are used to buying a bottle of foundation at Sephora. They're not used to thinking about foundation this way, and so that's probably what her advisors, her board, her whatever, maybe she decided to do it on her own, encouraged her to do, so that people were kind of like comparing apples to apples kind of thing. So I'm still gonna be using this, and I'm gonna mix it a little bit to try and get something really like lightweight, but also the right color, because her stuff really runs the gamut, and most of us kind of overestimated how dark the shades were. Like, I watched even Hindash apply it to a model's face and go, I really thought this was going to be a lot darker, you know? So that is the Yummy Skin Glow Serum, and it's really meant to be kind of a mixer. And y'all, I'm telling you, it's so fragrant. This is the Vision Cream Cover, and this is extremely pigmented. Like, that's the most that I'm going to do. It's super concentrated for a reason, and it doesn't have any fragrance, which is great. And then I'm just gonna take a little bit of my Fenty body sauce to deepen that a little bit and mix those together on the back of my hand, see if that's something that we like. That still looks a little bit high coverage to me and a little bit light. So I'm gonna add just a touch more of the body sauce. There we go. I think that that's going to be okay. And I have been into a little more coverage lately. I just feel like it looks more finished on me with less effort, but I still want it to look like skin. And I really hope that in a future iteration, and I will be kind of looking out for this because I'm not the only person who had this criticism, I do hope that she takes the fragrance out of the future iterations of it, because I will find my shade and really like take a new look with new eyes at these formulas when the fragrance isn't so distracting. Like that's the first thing that you notice is just this like tutti fruity fragrance. And like, sure, I mean, some people might think that it kind of adds to the experience, but my personal opinion is I think it takes away from the experience. So that did give me quite yummy skin. It feels good, but it also feels a little bit damp. Like I want to take like a sponge and just kind of tippy tap a little bit. And I will say the use cases for that balm powder are kind of across the board. There are people who are really asking for a review of it as a foundation and like, is it going to be similar? Someone asked me, is it similar to the Chantecaille cushion, the Future Skin cushion? And I was like, I don't have a pigmented version of it. I just have the translucent because I really was thinking of it as a setting powder, like a balm setting powder. But I can say, at least from the standpoint of the translucent formula, absolutely not. I don't know if I can compare it to anything really, but we're going to, again, kind of dive in on that, but it's not like the Chantecaille at all. That's quite pretty. I like that a lot. That's quite pretty. The scent lingers a little, just a little. I'm actually kind of getting into the fruity scents. I just got a PR package from Otherland. So they sent me 3 of their new scents for summer. If you guys are in that group of people on YouTube and Instagram who are very passionate about kind of like scents that lean a little bit sunscreeny, you know, this whole collection really, really has you. This is the Cocoa Blossom fragrance. I don't love coconut as a rule, but this is so like milky but also fresh. It's really balanced. It's absolutely lovely, and this is the one that's going to be on Sephora, they told me. And then they have Match Point, which smells like, it's supposed to smell like tennis balls, fresh cut grass, and cucumber. I just think it also smells just really bright and summery. I don't really get tennis balls from it, but I guess I get a little bit of that like verdant, you know, fresh cut grass thing. And then there's one that's like a, almost like a mango papaya thing, but it also, I think this one might have be the one that has a little bit of like a chili salt smell to it, and it kind of has this cool like little bite to it. They're really, really awesome, and I've been getting into those kind of poolside scents lately. I'm gonna hold that thought for just a second, and we're going to do some bronzer and some contour real quick. And I'm gonna use the Rare Beauty bronzer because this is just kind of matte. This is tacky enough right now between the Verdant Force Field and the Yummy Skin that I don't feel comfortable putting powder directly on this right now. I kind of want to like work with something a little more hybrid. But anyway, I've bin dying to be able to talk to you guys about the new scent from the new Savant. So the new Savant is the candle company that Ingrid owns. When she came to visit me, like I've bought a bunch of them, but she brought me unreleased ones that I had, like when I visited her in Brooklyn, I got to smell the prototypes, and she was just like really eager to share with me the final products because I found the prototypes to be incredibly exciting. And y'all, this one, Summer Splendor, stole my heart. It's artichoke, white wine, sesame seed, and something else, but I'm telling you, it smells like the brightest, most beautiful white wine. It gives me goosebumps thinking about it. And the throw on it, y'all, it's almost like she knows that you're going to burn a holiday candle inside, and so the throw isn't quite as crazy, but that you're probably going to burn a summertime candle outside, and so the throw is like insane. So it's like you could burn it for like 10 minutes in the morning and then blow it out, and it'll still have just like that beautiful lingering sillage, if you will, for like the rest of the day. It's Oh, I love it. And it's so uncommon. That's the thing about these other land candles. I actually had complaints about the original ones that I had tried because they were a little too complex and they were kind of clunky. I was like, yikes. You know, I'd have people message me and be like, well, you know, if I like X, Y, and Z, like which other land candles should I go for? And I'm like, if you don't like kind of snobby candles, kind of like really woody, suede-y, tiki, musky candles, don't buy anything from Otherland, because they ought, like, even their like floral stuff had these like pretty strong like amber musk notes to me that were a little bit like a little too woody cedary, and these are really, really bright. Like, I would say if you have held off because of that, these Otherland candles are incredibly bright, but they do smell more familiar. Whereas there's something about the new Savant candles where it might be a familiar smell, but it's not a familiar candle smell. If that makes sense. Like, you smell it and you're like, that's something that I've experienced, but it's not a candle I've experienced. And those smell like, you know, sunscreen or a pina colada, or kind of like, you know, the sweet Maui mango or something from Bath & Body Works, which is not an insult. I would still burn sweet Maui mango, okay? Don't get it twisted. Okay, contour. What contour? I wanna use my Salt New York contour. Where is she? Yeah. A nice, lightweight, balmy texture to go with all these other beautiful balmy textures. So this is the Salt New York in, I think it's called Taupe now. It was called Contour, but I think it's called Taupe. Just disappears into the skin. So, so beautiful. Absolutely effortless. This is already going to be a vibe. Like, I really, really dig the amount of glow that's happening on my skin right now. It's making me very, very happy. It's making me feel really pretty. Okay, so I like low-key forgot that I had this, and so I initially pulled this from Curewise, and so that's kind of the vibe I'm gonna be going for today. We're gonna go with this like coral, I think, because I want to go for this coral in my earrings. Matchy matchy. I don't know, just sounds fun. And this is another one where you kind of want to do it on the back of your hand a little bit, because it's made for all skin tones. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's gonna show up on the deepest skin, and so on me, it might happen a little too quickly. But I do really appreciate that, again, she kind of took her original, like, it's a 12 pan, and I have the 12 pan of her, like, her nudist palette, and there's like a neon one too. I forget what they're called. But either way, you know, she made this like a little bit more digestible, a little bit easier for someone to navigate who isn't a makeup artist, because it's 4 pans of very, very like straight from the pan shades that you don't need a lot of like color theory expertise to navigate. And it's like probably still the same amount of product. So yeah, I'm gonna stick in these corals. I'm gonna go with this coral, and then I'm going to kind of dip into the like lighter of the corals, like a peach, and go just a little bit. And all that's really gonna do is like kind of like what I was doing with the Fashion Fair lipstick, right? It's gonna build in the in-between shade so I get a little more opacity. But I actually really wanna concentrate mostly on that like darker coral, because I do like the translucence of it. Does that make sense? It's kind of like, do you want to see your skin through it, or do you want to have more of like a local color that looks like what's in the pan? And for me, being so fair, I do, if I want it to look more like what's in the pan, I need to like fill in the in-between shades, but sometimes I do just want it to look like a nice wash. And we can always kind of pull a little bit of it off. And this is a dry sponge. A dry sponge is not something that I ever use to apply makeup, but it's a nice thing to have to kind of remove makeup. And we're just skin. Like, isn't that nice? And the cool thing about that Vision Cover Cream is that it can then become a concealer. So I'm talking like the most tiny amount you can imagine as a concealer, like that, guys, like a little pinpoint. And I'm still going to take just a little bit of this and mix it with it. It's so concentrated. It's such a great value for your money. Did you see that? This is like 50-50, the Vision Cream Cover and that main squeeze stuff. So far, this is a face of makeup though that like really, really likes a warm fingertip. It's almost like I'm doing my makeup outside, to be honest, like with the fresh air coming in like this. So I'm getting like the benefit of the humidity. Everything's just looking a little bit more at home because my skin is staying kind of so warm and dewy. Pro tip, guys, do your makeup in front of an open window with the air conditioner off. Okay, so I did not even use all of that. That thing is $22 for the vision cream cover for that little tube, and it's on her website. I don't think that they have it on Sephora. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that, but if it's not there, that's where it is, and it's because it is kind of the makeup artist-oriented delivery system, but like, it really gets the job done. So this kimono, by the way, I posted it on my Instagram stories. I got it on Etsy for $36. It mailed all the way from India. I will post the link, but honestly, like, once you kind of open this category, it's a beautiful, beautiful world. It's really, really hard to make a decision. So yeah, in case you guys were wondering, this is definitely like a robe, but I would definitely belt it and wear it out of the house. Like, I don't care. So, now we're gonna talk about this balm, okay? So this is what it looks like, and it does come with this funny little scoop, but like that didn't really do it for me. I feel like that's for when you want to use it as a foundation or something. The description on this says, a texture reducing, coverage boosting, blurring balm that balances oils throughout the day while maintaining hydration. Okay, so it is not claiming to mattify, it's claiming to balance. The main ingredients here, magnesium carbonate, linseed oil, ginger root oil, meadow foam seed oil. I was really looking for the oils to see, because it does feel a lot oilier than I expected it to. So that's what it looks like. And it has a really like, I'm so sorry about my fingernails, y'all. I need to get like a fingernail like scrubbing brush. It feels like a thin, like extremely thin dry oil. It's funky. Like, I don't really know what to think about it, but for instructions, she says, using universal or a tinted shade, tap and blend with fingers to prime eyelids or complexion. I can prime my eyelids with it and see how that goes. Using a tinted shade at least 2 shades lighter or deeper than your skin tone, apply with fingers or a brush to brighten and sculpt. That's to highlight and contour. To set your foundation, using a universal or a tinted shade, tap on with fingers or a dense brush to set complexion. You can add sheer coverage by using a tinted shade, press and roll in an even layer onto textured or oily areas, and to set and add coverage, use a tinted shade, press and roll through the T-zone, and tap and build additional coverage where needed. So I'm just gonna be using it to set my foundation today, quote unquote, because I'm not making any promises here. That's just what I'm aiming to do. And I'm going to prime my eyelids with it and see what happens there. She said to use either your fingers or a dense brush. I would say that's a fairly dense brush, right? This is the BK101. That's what I applied all my blush with. I'm gonna get real close here, and I'm gonna put this like on one side. I'm kind of just evening it out on the brush, and I'm gonna just tap that on one side. Can you see that? Can you see the shine there and like the slight blur on that side? I want to get it to where it doesn't feel wet on the brush, because it does kind of, it picks up a lot of product at first, and it does start to kind of feel a little gummy on the end of the brush. And I'm tapping it on the back of my hand until I can't feel that anymore, because I don't want to lay so much product down that I'm kind of missing the point of the product. So that's where I would typically powder. That actually made a big difference. It doesn't feel like anything either. Like, that's what's odd. It doesn't feel like it's locking, it doesn't feel like it's drying, it doesn't, nothing. It doesn't feel like it's there. I'm just kind of tapping and then evening it out on the back of my hand. Because I don't like to mattify my cheeks, really. Wow, I do feel like I can tell a difference side to side. You can see the shine underneath my eyes. You can see the shine, the sheen here, like right on the front of my forehead, on my nose, underneath my nose. So I'll go ahead and do the other side. Because I always talk about that. I powder because I want to change the way the light is interacting with my skin, not necessarily because I'm trying to like add coverage or even mattify. I just want it to not be distracting. And that's what I mean when I say it's better, and I'm not even sure I can explain why. It's just a little more blurred. It's fantastic. And it doesn't have a scent. This one doesn't. I mean, it doesn't have a scent. It smells kind of like beeswax, or like a little bit like honey lemony a little bit, but like that's, I mean, you gotta get your face in there. All right, so I am gonna take my little Angie Hot and Flashy here, my A506 that I would typically do concealer with, and I'm gonna use that to like prime my eyelids. Oh, wow, the blur. Oh, that's really, really nice, because I always talk about how like I'm coming into eyeshadow always thinking I need more coverage because I'm like, I just need to cover those veins, they're so distracting. But like, that's just a really pleasant blur that just makes my skin look better, right? Makes me feel like I don't have to do as much. So the other things that I picked up from her in this order, I picked up 3 more of the color fixes. So I got 2 of the foils and 1 cream. So I got, nope, that's incorrect. These are all creams. I thought that they were all foils. Huh, cool. Okay, so I picked up 3 of the Color Fix creams, and I have 1 of the foils, which is Milky Way. So this is Ballerina, this is called Iconic, and this is called Celebration. I thought I had 1 more. That's right, I have Rocket also. So let me go ahead and swatch all of these for you guys, and then we'll make decisions. Here are all of my color fixes from DANESSA MYRICKS. Some of these are foils, some of them are creams, some of them are mattes. So this is the only matte, this one at the bottom, that's Creme Brulee. And then this one is Milky Way. This is Iconic, Ballerina, Celebration, and Rocket. So Rocket is meant to be kind of purple, but on me, other than the reflection, it really just kind of goes pretty brown on me. Celebration is a fan favorite. I've seen everybody love this stuff. Ballerina is also very easy to like on me because it's just like a very pleasant light pink. This color Iconic, I got it because I thought it was going to be pretty similar to my MAC in Dazzle Style, and it is more green actually than Dazzle Style, almost like a cooler green. And then that Milky Way shade is like a champagne. It's just very, very pretty. And then you can see that the 1 matte right there, Creme Brulee, is, you know, like a beautiful, beautiful pink. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm going to start with Celebration, which is everybody's fave, and then I'm gonna top it off with Iconic, just the tiniest little wash of it. But if there's anything that I have learned from you guys from using these is go slow. Go slow, use a very, very little at a time. So I have this Angie Hot and Flashy 505 here, and I think I'm just gonna use that to start applying this beautiful browny rosy shade here. I tried to say shade and tone at the same time. And if you apply too much of these at one time, they will be sort of distractingly tacky, but you really don't need very much at all. Like, you can just use them as a study in self-restraint because you can get such a beautiful wash out of them that really does stay. It's why it's called a color fix. And then you can build and build and build. Trust the process. I feel like I might have fussed that side a little bit too much, especially for the brush that I'm using. So I'm actually going in with just a little bit more to get the opacity first here, control where I'm putting it, and then just concentrate on blurring just the edges. Maybe with something a little bit rounder. Yep. And each one behaves a little bit differently, each formula type, you know? Like, you can just shear out the foils on your hand or whatever, and then just tap them on. Whereas with these, I do feel like you have to be a little bit more cautious as you're applying them to get the color where you want it, you know, before it dries. So obviously you can see this side turned out better. And you can kind of wipe it off. I think the primer helps too. So I'm gonna give that another go. Again, just going in with Celebration on the flat brush, getting it where I want it. And then using a fluffy brush to blur the edges. You can even kind of wait for it to dry for a second. You can kind of feel how tacky or dry it is. There we go. It's a little bit more work. It is, but it's also going to stay all day. So I'm just gonna build a teeny tiny bit more right on the outer corner here. I'm going to grab a smaller brush. This is the 207 because I don't want to take it in as large of an area. And I want to control the shape more. But unlike the Bobbi Brown sticks, these build. They build on opacity. And so you really can get more of a one and done effect from them because as they build, they also build depth. You see? That's better. They look a little bit more even, right? Ish, something like that. Before I go and tap on Iconic, I am going to take a little bit of like Nude Beach here from Bobbi Brown because this is, like we talked about in my last video, so close to my skin tone, but it's also like a really nice complementary pink that's gonna help, I think, even the texture out here, even the coverage out a little bit. And I'm gonna use that brush that I used the last time, which is this weird Real Techniques by Sam and Nick, like old brush from Ulta. The subtle difference between my skin and that color helps to kind of bridge the gap between Celebration and my skin without looking like I'm adding a ton more eyeshadow. Okay, now I've yet to use Iconic in this way. Your guess will be as good as mine on this. I hope it goes all right. I hope it's not like too insane because it is kind of like silver. I'm just applying that right in the center, out into where Celebration is. Not sure I like that, the way that I did it. It's not exactly the color I thought I was going for. I guess we go with Rocket, see what happens here. It's definitely subtle. It looks a little bit muddy. But a lot of times muddy can be cured by just bringing the light back out. I also forget about these all the time. So these are the Twin Flames. Is this what we do? I mean, it's just absolutely the tiniest little spot that I just put that in. So it's like I blended the green and the purple in the center against Celebration. And then I took Lust. She is the queen of a texture. And I just put Lust like right there. And I'm building it right against my lash line with my finger to get a maximum effect of that really phenomenal multi-chrome. Okay, I believe I have done enough mucking around here. So I'm going to speed through my brows and my eyeliner and my mascara, and then we will come back and I guess talk lips. well, I goofed and I got some mascara on my eyelid there. I'm gonna wait for that to dry and then we'll scrape it off with a spoolie. But in the meantime, I wanna apply more blush because it's called branding, Alan, okay? And you know, in the spirit of this like coral vibe, I'm just gonna keep running with that. We're not gonna just do what I usually do in Detour and like keep like, you know, building and giving you guys some kind of watercolor thing that, you know, is so bespoke I would never expect you to be able to like achieve it at home. We're just gonna keep going with this as my local color. I might even put this in my eye look because although I think it's picking it up pretty well. Okay, so I don't think that the blush is actually going on very nicely on top of that balm. Isn't that funny? So make sure you're done doing your makeup before you put that balm on. Because it's like, I can feel a resistance. Interesting. You know, I can feel it kind of wanting to be patchy. Huh. If you guys have tried this, let me know if you had that experience too, or if that's just like my imagination today, because it does feel a little bit like that. All right, I'm gonna go with that peach. I wanna get something a little more fluorescent here. I love how like bright that peach is. It's like the most summery, like delicious fruity looking color, isn't it? And this is technically a lip and cheek, but I do like that Lust shade from the Twin Flames. I did succeed somewhat in picking up some of the like coral tones in that, so I'm kind of glad I just like looked down and saw it. Unfortunately, that's like a very key part of my process is it sitting right in front of me? It's horrible, it's horrible. Let's get the spoolie out. I think that that's probably dry. Yep, let's chat lips here because I do want to continue chasing like a subtle coral feeling here. I'm gonna start with a lip balm though. My lips are kind of gnarly right now and there's also like complexion product on them and I feel like it's just like gonna make anything go on bad. So I am between two ferns right now. I have the Bobbi Brown that doesn't, it's not, neither of these is coral, okay? These are things that are coral on me and they chase down kind of a coral vibe because my skin turns everything pink. We have this, I have swatches that are not planning on going anywhere anytime soon on me right now. We have that, and then I also have, and I'm wondering if it's gonna be too intense, but I have Chai here from Bite Beauty, which also has nothing to do with coral. Nothing to do with coral in the tube, but it goes kind of almost like, it's like if you were to really, really turn down the volume on peach all the way towards purple. I know that that sounds crazy, but my skin's going to cancel out the purple and it's gonna pull kind of red. Color theory is wild. This is gonna be almost too native to what I did. And I feel like my eyes aren't really stealing the show, so there is room for like a blotted version of this that's gonna give like some life to my face here. So let's try this. But I do feel like I want more. So I am gonna add a little bit of that same like peachy, this is the Live Tinted Perk color corrector. I'm just adding that. Kind of like Hindash's shades, right? One of them's very peach and one of them is very like rosy. Sometimes it's not about looking like you're wearing lipstick, you know? Sometimes it just is about making your lips look a certain color. That looks poorly blended, doesn't it? Yeah, I do feel like that stuff kind of wants to skip. Like the blush wants to skip on top of the DANESSA MYRICKS Balm Powder. And I do actually have, what do I have? This is Call Me Peaches. Hindash, here we go. Now, Hindash makes fun of me because he says that this does look like hot Cheetos on me and that berry color that I was wearing the fashion fair, he's like, let me guess, that was like a baby pink in the tube and it just turned that color on you because he just like cannot process the way that colors like change on me. It's just like not what he's used to. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. A little more Chai. I typically don't like work this hard on like a bespoke lip color, but I have something in mind, you know? Could that have been achieved by easier means? Yes. Absolutely. But I'm into it. And I'm going to fix all this with Fix Plus. Yeah. I do think I want a gloss on top because nothing on my face is really glossy. We need the glossy by association effect here. Maybe I should have picked up that Makeup by L'Oreal Apricot Glow. I encouraged Kate to. Kate the Great. I feel like the blush didn't stick. And I know I'm fussing, but. There we go. This is the more like neon peach out of the DANESSA MYRICKS blush palette. I'm just putting it right here. Adding warmth and kind of a pop at this like high point of my cheek. But not being so cavalier as to apply something that is unblended and then have to watch myself not fix it throughout the rest of the video. So I'm going to stop myself there. Okay guys, so complete with swatches that are not going anywhere anytime soon. This is the vibe today. The vibe that I'm chasing down today is, like I said, Art Mom. And I think that we did it. I really wanted to find the right places on my face today to wear a color that doesn't necessarily naturally occur in my skin, which is kind of this like orange peach, but that I can still wear. It's just a matter of like being selective enough and like building in the right color so that I don't end up with pink face. So I think that we achieved it. I actually really like how like juicy it all looks, especially with the earrings. I just let that inspire me. And you know, I am resisting the urge right now to just keep going in with more of the Lust Twin Flames because I really like the effect that had. I do like the vibe. I like this a lot. So let's chat through these, just the DANESSA MYRICKS products, okay? The Vision Cream Cover, if you're unfamiliar with this product, but you are comfortable mixing your own stuff, I would recommend this over the Yummy Skin Foundation, especially because you kind of have to mix your Yummy Skin Foundation yourself anyway. And you can get these little like punch packs, basically, like little blister packs from her website of samples. I don't think they have every shade in a sample, but it'll at least help you get oriented in terms of like what number you are, because like I ordered 3 in the Yummy Skin and it was like crazy light. So it's like at least get oriented to like where you fall in terms of light and dark, and then you can kind of use your instincts on your like undertones and stuff. But this is exactly the same, except it's more concentrated and it doesn't have a fragrance. It's 20, at least the last time I looked. There's been a lot of inflation lately, but this was $22 the last time I looked, and I have this in the shade 1. I could go for several of these, and you guys saw I had to darken it quite a bit in order to use it as a foundation shade. So bear all of those things in mind, but I do think that this is a better value and an easier product to fit in my brain for its use case than the Yummy Skin, and it'll mix with anything. You can mix it with an oil, you can mix it with a serum like her Yummy Skin serum, or you can mix it with a moisturizer, pretty much any, like it does have a really agreeable kind of mixability to it because it is supposed to. It's supposed to be kind of an all-purpose makeup artist texture. That's the thing about DANESSA MYRICKS. You might only have started hearing about her when she entered Sephora, and so you might think of her as just like a regular beauty brand. But what I've always said about her, kind of following her brand, beginning really like middle of 2020, is that she makes beautiful textures, like some of the most gorgeous textures I've ever seen. Courageous, innovative, future looking kind of textures, but she also makes them in these formulas that don't necessarily have a place that they have to go on the face. You can use them anywhere. So like her little multi-chrome flakes, they went viral on TikTok because people were putting them on their lips over top of like a really dark liquid lipstick or something. That's what DANESSA MYRICKS does best. And so I suggest, even though the way that she's now presented in Sephora is very much comparable to the other things at Sephora, to still think of her that way. Because if you are kind of like confused by one of her products, it might just be that you kind of have to think outside the box a little bit in terms of like it not really being a specific thing for a specific spot on your face. It's more so like how you want to mix it and use it and make it work for you. But to me, it's worth it, if there is any learning curve to her formulas, to experiment with them and figure out what they do best for you, because the appearance of them and the effect that you can achieve is unique enough. It's worth it to learn. All right, let's talk about this. This is the Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder. When I've said Yummy Skin, I meant the foundation. This is all kind of in the Yummy Skin family though. So this I'm really pleased with. And the reason that I'm pleased with it is because it's so subtle. To me, it really displays DANESSA MYRICKS' appreciation for the most subtle changes in finish and in texture. She really understands texture. All that to say, you might not even notice if you put this on. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're someone with oily skin or even combination skin, you got an oily T-zone and you're thinking that's gonna mattify like a powder, it isn't. I don't want to set your expectations that way. It really feels like something that's for my skin in a way that I never really want, like full mattification, especially when I'm working with a lot of creams like I did today. But this is like one last step for your creams that does behave a little bit like a powder in the sense that it sets it a little bit, you know, but it doesn't mattify. But it also blurs, like it really blurs. Most things that blur are going to be opaque and they're going to like obscure what's underneath them a little bit. This is the first thing that I found that I feel like if I wanted to, I could have balm powdered my blush and just changed the finish on it. And there's a really unique use case there. Plus, I just feel like everything looks so much more like light friendly. Nothing's getting hit in a funny, shiny way, but I don't look made up. And that's why I always say DANESSA MYRICKS is a genius. This is why I continue to pay attention to her brand, is because she makes weird, cool stuff like this. You can tell she's just got a really cool imagination and she runs towards subtlety. Like she just has a passion for skin and the textures that you can achieve in makeup. As an artist, it inspires me. It makes me want to dig into the details. It makes me want to understand my materials. It makes me want to invent materials. I tried to light a pastel on fire today, or like melt it. Don't do that. It just turns black. It's also probably carcinogenic. But I was trying to get like more opacity out of it. Think outside the box. DANESSA MYRICKS will not only encourage but also enable you to think outside the box, and this is way outside the box. It's really cool. I'm never gonna complain about this, but it is a very simple, straightforward, very dewy, it says it on the front, blush formula, blush and cheek. Sorry, lip and cheek. Okay, Khaki, time to get off camera. It is very like sticky tacky and it doesn't have much of a dry down. It just kind of soaks in with your skin. If you have this balm powder, it's going to definitely be, you know, less so, but this is not a high-tech formula. It is just very pretty and you don't need much. I don't feel like it's heavy on my skin. I have no problem like layering it and things like that, and it's gonna give you that really pretty like juiced up skin appearance. But it is not a hybrid formula. It doesn't go to like a powder finish. It's not long wearing in that sense. But the colors are gorgeous. Look at them. I will wear all of those colors. Like this fluorescent peach is just amazing. I love this coral. This is the color that I'm talking about, that I'm always like, that juicy fuchsia, that sangria color that I'm always like looking for my ideal way of wearing it. This is such a dangerous color for me because I really do have to put something almost like this underneath it in order for it to look true to color, because it's going to go so stinking pink on me. Like it'll make me look like I just painted pink straight on my face. But it's also like one of the colors that I want to wear the most because it's just a color that's like hardwired to happiness for me somehow. And then this is like the easiest color in the world for me to wear, this just dusty rose color. Like that just turns the most pleasant, natural, rosy pink on my cheeks. So big fan. And there's also one that's like bronzer shades. And then as far as all of her products that are textures that you can use on the eyes, I don't even want to call them eyeshadows because they're not. This is the Color Fix. This is the Twin Flames. This is even the little multi-chrome pot things. Mine all dried up, so that's why I didn't use them today. Also, they tend to really steal the show. So I just wanted to like, you know, play in layers and in more subtle textures today than that, because those really like, it's all you see. So huge fan of these. I do recommend buying them on her website though, because the ones that have the clear backing, the only one I think on Sephora is Crazy For You, which I also recommend. It's gorgeous. But if you want more of them, like Lust, like, there's another one rolling around here someplace, then her website actually has tons of them. I have 3 of them that are the clear backing, and I just can't say enough about them. They add however much magic to a look as you want. They can absolutely make your eyes look like they have fireworks all over them, like they are neon. And then they can also do something really, really subtle like that, where all that does is just kind of pop a tiny bit of coral that I feel like is pulling from other places. So these are just incredible, and they don't like go bad immediately because they're actually like in a really, really good package. The color fixes, like if you're a one and done person in the sense that you have that patience to wash and then build, like build in thin layers, these are gonna be incredible for you. They're very rewarding in that sense, but it, just like anything else that's like a liquid you're putting on your eyes, you're going to have an easier time working with things that are closer to your skin tone and or working up from your skin tone to the color that you're putting on, because they are a little patchy as you get into like higher contrast. They're just a little harder to blend, but as usual, I lean on the blurringest formula that I have, which is the Hindash palette, the Hindash formula. This is Monochromance. I lean on this palette because it blurs and it blurs and it blurs and it makes things look blended. And so all I have to do is just take a little bit of a creamy shade or something and just lightly dust it over an area to the point that you almost don't even know that it's there, but it gives the most airbrushed finish to the skin, which I need because A, like I said, contrast makes things look patchy, and B, I have like veins, you know what I mean? Like underneath my eyes right here. And some people have most of their real estate right on their eyelids, and so that's not a huge deal. You look at someone like Tati or like Raw Beauty Kristi, and they really don't have a ton up here to play with. They have these really, really gorgeous, giant, luxurious eyelids. And then you look at me, and I'm kind of like Nikki Tutorials, where it's like when I'm looking straight ahead, you don't see a whole lot of my eyelid, you see a lot of this. And that's great. I don't think there's anything wrong with either one. But for me, it's like I have to really be conscious of that skin and like what the nature and the appearance of that skin is with the eyeshadow on top of it, because it can be distracting. So I love that Hindash formula for that. That was a total sidebar, but if you're like me and you just find it distracting to like see kind of poorly blended things up there and like you are prone to that, it's not your fault. And you can just find a really, really good blendable matte formula like the Hindash palette, and it will perform the magic like at the end of the eye look to just blur everything together. There's a lot to be said for that. And just to touch briefly on the Yummy Skin Serum, you know, the only thing that I don't like about this is the smell. I actually really, really like the consistency of it. It's very, very like bouncy and juicy, and it has this really nice kind of like subtle serum-y sheen to it with like a little tiny bit of reflection. It comes in a couple of shades, you know, for lighter and deeper effects. Yeah, the only objection I have to it is that it kind of smells like a body spray, honestly. But yeah, I hope that that has provided enough context for my recommendation for this. And if you guys want, I can pick up a tinted version of this. If you're like so disappointed by my review today because you're like, that doesn't help me at all, I wanna know how the tinted one works. I didn't pick the tinted one up because it's called a Balm powder. And I thought, okay, well, a powder, I don't use powder foundations, so like it didn't even occur to me to buy the colored one. So if you want me to get the colored one, the pigmented one, I absolutely will, now that I know that this formula is so fascinating. So I hope you guys found this valuable and enjoyable. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it if you did. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. We would love to have you. Thank you guys so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. And the burbs! I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Art Mom out.
Hey.